Have you ever had to move? Well, Bruno in the book, The Boy with Striped Pajamas, he had to move. He had to move to a barren wasteland, and all that was there was a house, a fence, and people on the other side. He is stuck there for months, on end, without anything to do, but then he finds something. First it's a dot, then a speckle, then a blob, then a figure, then the boy in the striped pajamas. Ironically, the boy in the striped pajamas, or Shmuel, isn't actually the main character of the book, because the book is called The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, as you can see here, in this amazing artwork. The book itself was made by John Boyne and Oliver Jeffings. As in the intro, the main character is actually Bruno, not the boy in the striped pajamas. And after he returns to find his dad, they're moving. Both him, his dad, his sister Gretel, his mother, and their maid, Maria. Gosh, I keep on saying that name wrong. But when he gets home, Maria, his maid, is packing every single thing. When they arrive at the new house, they end up at a concentration camp called Auschwitz, based off of Auschwitz. And, of course, Bruno, being only 9 years old, he doesn't know that it's a concentration camp, as you can tell. He doesn't realize it, and after a while, he gets bored, and he doesn't like it at all at the beginning. And the reason why they had to move there was because his dad had just become a commander of a Nazi party. So at first, it's terrible. After like 4 or 5 weeks, after a long while, Bruno kind of gets used to it. He gets used to being lonely, and he kind of gets along with his sister Gretel more. But eventually, he sees a blob. Then after he explores, he sees a dot that becomes a speck, that becomes a blob, that becomes a figure, that becomes the boy in the striped pajamas. In the book, I kind of don't like that they say that full-on sentence. They actually say that, but still. And every day after his tutor leaves, Bruno goes to visit Shmuel and becomes great friends with him. And to protect Shmuel, he keeps his friendship to himself, and nobody else knows about it. Throughout the story, not only does Bruno change, but his family does as well. His family, first of all, except for like Gretel, all of them accepted that they had to move. And at first, his mom was excited for it and liked it all the way until Lieutenant Kotler, who originally had made Bruno's life terrible because he called him little boy and was acting like he was in charge of the entire place. Except for when Bruno's dad was around, of course. And his sister Gretel and his mother adored Lieutenant Kotler, who in my opinion, in Bruno's opinion, was kind of a meanie. I would say more, but then again, school. Moving on. Once Lieutenant Kotler leaves, he does leave, his mother and sister becomes sad. Well, I don't know if his sister is, but his sister kind of accepts it and goes more into geography and maps, that which they had been taught by their tutor, who believed that history and geography was the most important. Wherefore his mother, she starts to hate it. She starts regretting it and wants to move the children after realizing how bad it was for them. But as stated before, Bruno finds a friend and actually likes it, and eventually, it's after years, he forgets all of his original friends. So, if he were to move back he might remember his original friends, but he would be losing one of his biggest friends he knows. And actually, once Lieutenant Kotler leaves and Gretel goes into more of the geography and all that, she becomes less irritable to Bruno. She becomes less of a bully, and she becomes friendlier to her brother. And they actually start to get along more. And Bruno changed a lot, as well as his family. I think the only one who didn't really change until the very end of the story that I'm not going to tell is his dad, but I'm not going to say it because it is a big, huge spoiler. Now, most people would expect the theme or something to do something with friendship. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that it has to do with friendship, because that is way too stereotypical. What I think this book is about, it's about not lying about actions, deeds, or anything good that you've actually done, because you're afraid you'll get in trouble. Never lie because you're afraid of getting in trouble is the theme. And I got this because, one, the main thing that leads to the end that you'll see is that they lied about all of it. He didn't tell their parents. He didn't tell anyone about it, except for like Gretel, but then he went off as if it was an imaginary friend, trying to hide it still. And, okay, spoiler, there was one event where Shmuel actually went to his house to clean dishes. Bruno purposely gave him food because he looked like he was starving to death, that which you would expect. Lieutenant Kotler comes in and sees him eating so much and eating it all. Shmuel, I'm referring to, of course. And Shmuel gets in trouble. Kotler asks Bruno if he gave this boy food and if he knew him, because that's what Shmuel said, was that he was friends with Bruno. Bruno lied. He said no, he did not know him, simply in the fear of Lieutenant Kotler. Now, yes, they forgive. Yes, Shmuel does forgive him, but still. And I think his father's opinion might have changed, and might have agreed more with his grandmother than he originally had. If they had civil debate about this, if Bruno had actually talked to his parents about this, he might have changed their minds completely on the subject, and would have gone more towards for grandma's view. Now, of course, it would be hard to do that, but still, it's your child. That's why I think he would be more accepting. So, in the end, Bruno, the main takeaway is that never lie to your parents. Simply or anyone, if you're afraid of getting in trouble, because they will understand. And if someone else is going to be in trouble because of you, you might as well get yourself into the trouble instead of others.